Hey everybody, welcome back. Got another T4 and ISO 8 video for you, Shadowlands. So this is something that's been hotly discussed. A lot of different thoughts out there. This was one that I have to admit was, you know, when you're really trying to figure out essential, there's a lot of different ways it could go depending on what you're using them for, because a couple of these guys might be worthy in raid, or maybe one at least. She's back. And depending what you want to try to do in war against certain matchups. So was a tough one. I definitely wanted to spend some good time on it, thought about it a bit, and then finally kind of settled and said, you know what, just got to get this out there. So as always, great work from Punk, and we'll dive into this. And first, we want a special note from our sponsor, Amazon coins. I wish I would have known about these when I started spending at all on Amazon / in gaming. I can't believe I waited this long to do it. I could have saved, I don't even know how much money. It's kind of scary to think about. The up to 20% at the peak value. Even some of the smaller ones, smaller packages have good values. I encourage everybody, if you're going to spend on any of this stuff, definitely do it through Amazon coins. The savings by themselves speak volumes. So save that money if you're going to spend it. Be smart. I mean, if you know you can save 20% on something, you know you're going to spend the money on it, wouldn't you want to do it? So anyway, the link in the description below brings you to this page. Buy whatever you want here. You know, pick whatever package. There's all kinds of other packs here. If you want to help support the channel, click that link that does bring you here. And every time you do purchase this, you do need to click that link. So it's important to remember that. It only lasts for about 24 hours. So next time you come through, if you don't mind, we absolutely appreciate it here. So thank you for that. I've got a video where I walk through the steps. You can see me right here. Yeah, double face. So go check out that video. Definitely worthwhile so that you can figure out how to get this all set up, emulator, Android, all that kind of thing. So appreciate Amazon coins for the sponsor, and save yourself some money. Go do it.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, so as always, Punk does fantastic work, and I do want to mention that our good buddy Yeti is taking a step back from content creation at the moment. He's got a lot of real life stuff going on, so we still all love and adore each other, but he needs some real life stuff, real life time to focus, and content creation is just not on the table right now. So again, it's gonna be Punk and I still doing these, but Yeti's our guy. We still love him and know that he's got to focus on that stuff. So we love you, bud. So anyway, jumping into this, you know, this, like I mentioned, this is one of the harder ones that I've kind of had to look at, mainly because I was just like, there's some things like originally Daredevil Special, which kind of affects everybody or doesn't work without the T4, but I'm like, how important is it really? And, you know, I'm going back and forth on that. And then Night Nurses, you know, so eventually kind of landed here. I feel pretty good about it when you're looking over at the overall picture. Again, as always, Punk does great work. We have the raid, the advisory. It is war focused. There's a couple comments and notes that I have in here, mainly for Night Nurse about raids. We've got the ISOs at the top here, where for Daredevil we're talking Raider, you know, maybe Striker, but really like Raider because of some of his AoE type effects is always critting. Same thing with Moon Knight, some of those AoE effects and always critting. Night Nurse is healer without a doubt. I like Elektra as a skirmisher to help get some vulnerables out there, along with Moon Knight and Daredevil, because White Tiger, she's the beast. All right, she is just wreaking havoc, and you want her as a striker, and any chance for double attacks from her, you definitely want them. So she, yeah, she's a beast. So you'll love her. Moon Knight's really one of his big things is making sure he clears off the offensive butts and hopefully getting the important debuffs on there. I don't love that he's the RNG Knight more than he is the Moon Knight, but hey, is what it is. And then as always, this is our recommended positioning from left to right. Obviously Elektra and Night Nurse both have adjacent buffs, so you know, we'll kind of see, depending how you want to do that, is really kind of how that goes. Okay, so, and then we go through here, and I'll go through these in more detail as we look at the spreadsheet, but I just want to explain, we've got the character, the ability, there's a legend at the bottom that gives the colors, what all of that stuff means, and then this damage increase rank. Basically, this is how I originally started ranking T4s, is I wanted to see how much damage increase or the bang for the buck that you get for these things. So I've got a gigantic spreadsheet that ranks all those based on percent of damage and their base damage. So that when it comes in, that's kind of where these things rank up at. Okay, so you can just see if you're just looking at damage for a second and want to weigh that in, it's like, all right, well, Moon Knight's basic, that's the 80th best damage increase for a T4. Wow, that's pretty good. Or Electra's special, like, wow, I normally didn't like that, but given the damage increase, I might consider it. Or same thing with White Tiger or Daredevil's Ultimate you wanted to do, but you're like, ugh, that's not a really good. I don't have a lot of T4s. I don't want to spend, that much there. So that's what we got. We're going to jump into the spreadsheet. And so for anybody who's new to the channel, link to the Discord in the description below. Come on by. We like to talk theory, all kinds of efficiency type stuff. So anyway, now spreadsheet time. All right, I always like to start off at least talking a little bit about the ISOs. Honestly, there's not much here. I kind of mentioned it already. Heals, Electra, she's a solo target tune. So that's why I like Skirmisher. You want the vulnerables out there. Daredevil, there's a lot of multi-targets. Raider. White Tiger, she's just such a heavy damage dealer. You get the striker, and then like I mentioned with Raider for Moon Knight, you got the special 100% crit, and it's a chain. That might make you want to T4 that for the additional targets you can hit there, but they are both long cooldowns, so that made me think about it a little bit, but I was like, I think I still like Raider. So coming in at the bottom here, Daredevil's basic. It's just not very highly damaged. It's not a very high damage rank, so I was kind of like, all right. And then you're already gonna kind of get the if it's a villain, the guaranteed chance to attack bonus. So if you really need that bonus attack, I guess you're gonna raise it up, but I didn't have that high. Electra's basic, again, not a great damage attack. That's really what you're doing there, and you're guaranteeing the bleeds. Okay, I do like that, but it's kind of like, it's more of a, you don't have anything else to spend those T4s on, because this is a T4 heavy team, so something like that does drop quite a bit. Night Nurse is basic. If you're finding that she's using this much more than you're using her special and her ultimate, because you're just nuking people so much, or you don't need that sustain, I could see this being a little bit more important, because she does flip 2 effects as opposed to 1, but it's still not a lot, and the damage increase is kind of lame. So I was like, let's leave that at the nothing else to use them on. The blues got T4's Despair. And the first one we got there's Daredevil's Ultimate, which you might think that might be better. It's a first or second turn ability. You hit some more people, but the damage increase there was just not all that exciting. So I couldn't justify bringing it up higher. Let's zoom out a little bit here. And then White Tiger's basic. It's a nice damage dealer. I do like that you get a second turn on that defense down. But I don't know, I couldn't really rank this much higher. Her other abilities, I'm really focused in on trying to use those as much as possible. Now again, there's not a lot of assisting here, other than I think it was Night Nurse's special, which brings the highest damage ally, which will be White Tiger. So if you're seeing that, or you've got a really high red on her and you're just like, I want more damage from her, that makes sense. This would be totally reasonable to upgrade at that point. Moon Knight's special, his damage rank is, it's 133. It's not too bad. It's deceiving though, because you've got the crit chance, so it can actually be better than that. So don't let that damage rank, or even this ranking, get you too down on it. You do hit a potential to hit a little bit more targets here. But remember, there's 100% crit chance, so that damage increase is multiplied a little bit by crit. Next up, we've got Electra's special. Kind of talked a little bit earlier. The extra buff clear is kind of like, whatever. It went from 2 to 2 to 3. It's like, if it was guaranteed 3, maybe, but I'm not going to spend a T4 to go maybe 1 more. No, I'm not going to do that. So the damage, though, is actually pretty good. 53rd, I was like, all right, girl, like, you do your thing. But, I was in between this being a yellow or a blue. So even though this is, what is yellow? Solid, I think? Yeah, solid. I did think about dropping it lower. Moon Knight's basic damage rank is 80. With long cooldowns, this could get used a bit, so this could go up higher a little bit, to be honest with you. The damage is pretty solid, and the guaranteed guaranteed buff is nice. So you attack the primary target for an additional 60% damage, but here the 100% chance to gain a random positive effect for 2 turns. That is really nice. So I would fully support somebody saying, I really like this. I want to do this. My Moon Knight's awesome. I love Moon Knight. I get it. You want that guaranteed buff. And you know what? If you get the counter, that, you know, you get some additional damage boost. I personally wish instead of offense up, it was deflect. And I'm going to keep pitching this because the deflect thing only comes in if you've got Hanger in War. Or if you put him next to Colossus or something, it's like, you're not going to do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you're never going to use this guy with Colossus. So I would have liked to see, instead of offense up, a counter, deflect, and speed up. So that way, if you rolled the dice and got that, you know, a deflect, it's like, yes, I get offense up and he's got some speed bar, but it's not. So it's in yellow and in 13th place. All right, Electra's passive. This was another one that was kind of debated a little bit on a stream that I was on. I've got needs testing on this because I could see at some point ultimately adjusting this one. It really, my comment here is only do this if you need to hide and evade 2 tunes. Otherwise, it's not needed in my opinion. So on spawn, it basically adds that you're going to put stealth to all adjacent Shadowland and hand allies as opposed to one random. So if you basically want to hide those people, so it's like, okay, that's what you need. Now, maybe you need it, maybe you don't. You know, maybe if you've got a small White Tiger or a small Moon Knight, you might want to do that. You may, you know, put her next to them and like, all right, at least they're hidden for a little bit. So yeah, but if it's not needed, then it's kind of like, and then if this team goes before everybody, what's the point? You don't need it. So that's kind of where I was like, I don't think I can rank that one higher, even though some people told me I was kind of crazy there. Maybe I'm not. We'll see. Time will tell, but right now I've got that at 12 and a solid. The first really good one I've got on here, coming at 11, is Electra's Ultimate. This is actually a very high damage increase, 25. Plus, it gives you 2 turns of Disrupt, which helps overlap with that White Tiger special. So that could be pretty nice. And again, depending on turn and speed and what's going on with like deflex, different characters might go first. Again, I don't love that because you've got to really, you know, it is nice because it's a puzzle to an extent, but part of it is like, ugh, man, I don't want to, like, I want to be able to count on this turn order so I know what I can do here. But it's a pretty good damage increase there, 70%. Like I said, the extra 2 turns of Disrupt, and she's got this huge focus, so it should definitely land. That's a great thing to use on like a Strife first turn. Night Nurse passive. I also say this needs testing. I'm much I'll call it bearish on this one than most. So all this really does is that when a character, it adds this text here where it says adds. When this character or any Shadowland ally drops below 50% health, apply defense up, blitz timer, defense up to that character and fill the Night Nurse's character speed bar by 30%. So it helps get to her passive quicker. It helps. Uh-oh, there's a spider. There's a spider. It helps get to her passive a bit quicker, but you know, it didn't have that crystal heal. So it's kind of like, yeah, defense up is nice, but depending how hard they got hit, is the defense up, like maybe it keeps them alive? I don't know. We'll see. You want to show me the spider? But what about the T4's? Okay, all right. Well, we'll go see the spider. Okay, so spider taken care of. Sometimes you just got to be a dad, right? So let's see. All right. So anyway, I could see a lot of people were kind of like, what do you mean? This should be ranked higher. And I'm like, well, it's not healing. I know it's getting to her passive quicker. I don't know. And so that's why I'm kind of like, this needs some testing. I'm willing to admit it's really good. It's definitely top 10, but it kind of depends. And notice like I couldn't rank this higher because it's any Shadowland ally. So it doesn't really come into play with a raid. So it's kind of like, I don't know. So that's where I left that one. Moon Knight's Ultimate. This one I struggled with a little bit. I liked the damage increase. It's ranked 16th overall and it hits everyone. My comment is RNG here is trash. 50% on an up to for random effects. So after an RNG focus increase versus a resist check, this is a yellow orange due to RNG. Damage makes it orange. So if you read this ability, I mean, again, the damage is great, but it's like from 300 to 400, from to 308 to 500. So in theory, you could T4 this and get a 380 hit, which would be less than what you could originally hit for, which I hate that. That's like, really, if I'm gonna spend a T4 on something, I want to guarantee it's hitting harder. Okay, I don't like that at all. This is the part you got to really look at the reading here, and I'm assuming this is gonna work exactly how I'm reading it. So there's a 50% chance to apply up to. So this up to, okay, it's like, prices, sales up to 30% off, but they're all the percents off for like 5%. It's like, so you have a 50% chance to maybe apply 3, but you could apply 1. You could apply 2. Okay. So it's like, all right, so that's already RNG. And now the only thing the T4 does is to give it for 2 turns. So if it does apply, it gives it a second turn. I do love the list of debuffs here. That's great. I love the fact that it gets a bunch of focus for this attack. That's great. But I don't love that it's sitting on a 50% chance to apply up to. So that's what I'm saying. It's like 50% chance on an up to for random effects. So that's 50% up to random after you're doing an RNG focus increase. Granted, it's still got it's got a resist focus check. Now this last one, maybe I'll give you that, where it's like, all right, there's really only three RNG things here, but there's still technically a check. So I don't love that. But hey, if you do land them and get them for 2 turns, that is huge. So this is craps, right? Just roll the dice and see what happens. Moon Knight's passive is next up at 8, also a really good one. I just like the HP increase. That's all I'm really talking. Is it needed? That's the question. So this could be up higher, it could be lower. If you're finding that you don't really need it, I could see people who are trying to punch up really would need this more. If you're trying to punch across, it probably isn't needed as much because you're just doing so much damage, it won't necessarily matter. So all right, number 7. This is the first essential, Daredevil special. Like I mentioned earlier, I was all over the place on this one. My comment is, thanks for making this essential, Scopal Necks. Need counters on Shadowlands. Counters might not be needed, but damn, no one gets them without this. Ugh. And that's how I feel. I was just like, really? Like, they don't even get it? Like, can I give it to them for at least 1 turn and maybe not, and the T4 gets to them for 2 turns? Like, come on. But no, it's not like that. But the nice thing about this that made it essential is if you use Daredevil's special first turn, then the Shadowlands will have offense up from the White Tiger passive. So they'll be countering with an offense up. So that's actually really nice. So that's what brought this into special. So really that's what this is about. It's just chaining to about more targets, a little bit extra damage. Damage is whatever. But it adds the fact that the Shadowlands won't even get this counter unless you do the T4. So if you think you need it, you want the counters on their Shadowlands, then you do it. If you don't, then don't do it. And again, I flip-flopped all over the place with that one. I ended up landing there because I like the fact that if you use it first turn, it's going to be good. White Tiger's ultimate comes in at 6. This is the #1 damage increase in the game as far as boost here. It's crazy high given her damage. Biggest solo target damage increase for a T4. That's huge. I like the HP game, but the negative effects is likely unnecessary. Likely a kill shot, similar to Longshot's ultimate on a shorter cooldown. So this is a 2 out of 4 cooldown. You're using this second turn, and it's a short thing, so you can use it again pretty quickly if a match goes that long. Granted, if you're using something with her, you're using an ultimate twice in a match, something's probably gone wrong, but you know what? This thing sits so hard, and I still want to use it for a second turn nuke and just hopefully taking somebody out. Coming in number 5, we've got another Night Nurse ability, also needing testing, is the alt. So without these T4s, you might not use this ability at all during a match, because the T4 takes it from 0 energy starting to 4 energy. So that means you can use it first, second, or third turn. Otherwise, you're waiting for that, third or fourth turn or whatever it is. So it's very unlikely that Night Nurse is going to get a third or even fourth turn to potentially use this in a lot of war matchups. So the question really is going to become, do you need this for a war matchup? And you might not, but Night Nurse is going to be big in the skill lanes of the Doom Raid. So that is really why I settled in saying, you know what? I'm okay with this being essential. I'm okay ranking this so high. It's a solid boost there for being able to use this early on, where you're like, You know, in a Doom Raid, you're going to use it first turn, so you're going to get, you know, whatever heals and regens out there. So it's like, okay, that way they heal, and then hopefully shortly after that, when you need it again, you're ready to bring people back up. So that's why I landed on 5 on that one. Coming at 4 is Night Nurse's special. My comment here is if heals and cleanses are needed, then this is definitely a must-have. Will be the same for the alt and the passive, which we already went through, but is definitely needed for sustained fights. And because of Doom's skill lane, I also think this is going to be needed. So what this adds is when you do a T4 is the clear 3 negative effects from the most injured ally and all adjacent allies. It's pretty huge. You want to clear those negative effects if they're there, right? So, you know, maybe you don't need it against a Doc Ock. You probably would need it if this actually becomes a legit Black Order thing. It'd be awesome if Night Nurse and this crew actually dethroned Black Order in some manner, but you know, who's going to invest that much in them? Remenex. We need you, buddy. Heal the most injured allies and adds all adjacent allies. So instead of just doing the most injured, it also will heal the adjacent one. So this is a really nice ability. I like this one a lot. Yeah, I just think it's a good ability. You like the clears, you like the heals. White Tiger's special comes in at number 3. So my comment here is I love the piercing ad here. This could be a tad lower if it is not getting you the kills you want, but don't miss that the added 3rd attack could get you through all the deflects and land those critical debuffs. So depending how you decide to do your attack order, this special might solo clear all of those deflects and get you to land that disrupted or in war the ability block. So it's really about getting that 3rd bonus attack, and you're getting an additional 20% piercing per Shadowlands ally. That's pretty big. So you want that extra piercing. This thing, if you haven't seen some videos, will take an Emma from basically a full almost to dead. Okay, so, and granted, I think she had defense up on her when I saw that video, but still, this ability is insane good. It's first turn. There's a chance that she could straight up one-shot kill somebody there. Daredevil's passive. Again, thanks Scopelnex for making this essential. Now, there is some debate for making this essential. I think it probably still is. You want the speed on your Shadowland allies, in my opinion, and that's what the T4 does. Some people might already have this T4 from his Defender days, so it might not be a big deal, but the T4 does add the Shadowland allies, which means it's needed. Same thing with the dodge chance, if you care about Daredevil dodging. And then gain an additional 10 speed for self Shadowland allies, gain an additional 10% speed as well. So to me, this is pretty much needed. Like, it's just like, all right, well, I have to add this so that my Shadowlands allies get the speed up buff. It's that simple. Sucks, but it's needed. And then coming at number 1, I think this is pretty unanimous. White Tiger's passive. Anybody who's saying this isn't the number 1, I'd probably argue with, you know, depending what their position is, but this adds on spawn fill speed bar by 10% and 5% speed bar per Shadowlands ally for self and all Shadow allies. So you need that spawn for the speed bar fill and the speed bar per Shadowlands allies for self and all Shadowlands. It helps you get to go quicker. Okay, so I really like that with the White Tiger passive. You know, there's and then there's on the kill, she gets an additional 30% speed bar, which you like so that she goes a little bit quicker. So that's what we got. That was it. I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope it's helpful. You know, a lot of this stuff could go a few different ways, but we wanted to get this infographic out there to help you guys kind of make some decisions. This video is kind of the supporting effort to give it a little bit more detail to the infographic. So if you got some questions, hopefully you got this far in the video and hopefully we answered them. So if not, Discord link in the description below. And if you like this, please hammer down on that like button, click that notification bell, subscription button. And until next time, hope you have a wonderful day.